Oh yeah, the remake is finally here. I knew that after Resident Evil 2 Remake, they would finally give this game the remake it deserves. Expanded Raccoon City, new locales, and a brand new Nemesis using Fedora Guy as the baseline. And I bet that you upgraded the live selection system, making your choices stick with you through the game. Suck on that, Bethesda. Hahaha, enough talk. You want stars? I'll give you stars. Nemesis, hijo de puta! Enough of your shit! Hijo de tu puta madre! Capcom, why are you like this? If there was one remake I really wanted you to nail, it was this one. And you fuck it up. Now. Everyone around has already commented on this game's issues with its length, which only shows how late I am to the party. I mean, not that I disagree with them, but I wanted to give my opinion as a fanboy of the series and why the problems are a bit deeper than that. I don't promise that I won't retread ground, but well, let's go. Now, we will be comparing both games to the following sections. Technical, where we cover things such as gameplay, mechanics and presentation. Characters, including the main one, Jill. I will also go really quickly over enemies here. The live selection system. Oh boy. The absolute unit, Nemesis. Both games' entire run. Basically, I am going to speedrun an overview of both games' main areas and events. And my conclusion of whether or not this remake measures up, which, spoiler alert, unless I change my mind while writing the script, it probably won't. This is actually the 4th version of the script and the 3rd version of the video. Ah! Let's start with what I consider to be an easy to explain section. To put it bluntly, both of these versions look and play great in the context of the release because they kinda sorta little bit are using a lot of stuff from the previous games. Mainly because the original version of this game was meant to be a spin-off, but don't get me wrong my friend, you keep using that beautiful RE engine. In both games, in order to adapt to the increasingly frantic action, they gave Jill more tools, such as the quick turn or the dodge. In PlayStation 1 you might as well just close your eyes and pray to your god so that it works. ¡Hijo de puta! But in the remake it works quite nicely. Now, I love the original Resident Evil 3, but like, putting them side to side, I mean, you know. Do you know how hard it is to convince friends to try early survival horrors nowadays? I do! Okay. The remake, or rather, the engine itself, is a really nice modernization to the series. Still, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for those pre-rendered bad boys. But a lot of stuff, much like the combat, the graphics and the presentation itself, benefit a lot from this modernization. That being said, not everything is an upgrade. There are some things that have suffered mainly because this game streamlines a lot of things. In the remake, exploration around the city and puzzle solving are basically dumbed down to basic bitch levels. And well, making things simpler is not a bad thing, but with the reloading tool gone and given how frequent the gunpowder pickups are, there is really not a lot of tough process, so why not just, well, make them bullet pickups instead. Also, instead of expanding on the enhanced ammo functionality, they simply remove it. So honestly, they just feel like a really shallow integration. Some of those issues could have been resolved by placing reloading tools at the safe spots. So you actually have to bring the gunpowder there. And hey, this franchise has kinda a loose sense of what's grounded and what's not, so you can go a bit crazy with enhanced ammo. In summary, it doesn't get a perfect score in this section, but the engine does a great job at bringing the game to a new life, so yeah. Let's continue to the next section. Humans. Love or hate them, they are basically needed in every horror setting, or at least some sentient equivalent. Mainly because you just need some schmucks to suffer through it. This game has, well, enough characters to warrant a list. Now, I will go over each character briefly, while not read out their specifics on the video, as to not prolong this section too much. Spoiler alert, almost every character got an upgrade in the remake, Also, I will most likely butcher their names, I can barely speak English as it is. So, with that in mind, let's start with the main star in this game. Good old Jill Valentine, a darling to the series and a complete badass. Along with Chris Redfield and other STARS members, she basically destroyed Umbrella's plans in the first Resident Evil. Something that Umbrella, well...
You gotta get out of there right now!
Alright, let me grab my...
did not care for. Now, for differences between iterations, Jill is largely the same, although she has quite the dosage of snark and a putty mouth, which I honestly find really amusing. So yeah, she's our beloved Jill sandwich. Good old chicken broth. Given the series revival and an awkward stage, aka reviving at the second entry and not the first, there are some characters who are largely unknown to the player base, among them Brad, who practically benefited a lot from this new iteration, as Capcom decided to put his chicken shit behavior under the rug, which, you know, basically got a lot of people killed in the first game, when he left them stranded because, well, he got scared.
No! Don't go!
This time around he seems to be more of a team player, because I definitely would not be talking like that to the person who, well, did that. I don't mind that change too much, however, I don't mind that they changed the way that he dies in this game. I will examine that later. Basically, this is one of those changes that left me like, yes, sure, you could do that, but why? Why would you do that? Mr. Oliveira, a suave soldier from the UBCS who favors the assault rifle. Carlos basically got a flat out and complete makeover, which, I mean...
Wait, I have to ask you something.
I know. You wanna ask me out? All the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy.
Hey, easy, lady. I got you.
Who are you? What are you doing?
Name's Carlos, and I'm saving you.
I'm fine.
Personal space. Okay, I get it. Let's go.
Gracias a pinche Dios. What the hell is with original Resident Evil games writing? So yeah, personality wise, it's a complete upgrade. But there are some issues with his involvement in the events of the game. We will get into that later on. Mikhail Victor. He's the captain of the platoon that, well, every other UBCS character here belongs to. He actually has a pretty sick backstory, but it's not really explored into the game. In the game he's basically a non-entity. Although I must say, for some reason I love his voice in the remake.
Carlos, you didn't even think to ask fine young lady her name? She is an elite operative of RPD, Special Tactics and Rescue Service. Her name is something Valentine.
It's Jill.
Nice to meet you, Jill.
I am not even going to try to pronounce Nikolai's last name. He's basically the traitor of the game. Basically, his real mission is to collect bioweapons combat data, which is why a lot of the UBCS members are dead in the first place. And well, Resident Evil loves to have its obvious traitor characters, but I swear to God, what the hell happened here? In the original game he was already shady as fuck, but in the remake, este hijo de su puta madre is not even trying to hide it.
You've done me a big favor, mister.
So yeah, I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the few characters that basically got a downgrade. Barry Burton, yet another character who, well, basically got a downgrade because he's not here at all. Admittedly, his role in the original game was not that big, I mean he just arrived in a shopper to save them, but here he just didn't appear at all. So much for the STARS members to have an expanded role in this new version. Alright, Tyrell, there is not really a lot to say about him. In the original game he's killed by Nikolai, and that's it. In the remake he's given a psychic job and he pulls it off until, well, he dies. Or Boy Dario. In both games his main role is to be in panic and lock himself up. Although he was done dirty in the remake, in the original he's mourning the death of his family, who got eaten by zombies. So yeah, understandable. And if you come back to the warehouse later in the game, you will see that he, well, opened up and got eaten by zombies. Huh. In the remake, there is nothing about that, so bring the lawyers, Dario.
Stop that! You're gonna hear from my lawyer!
Okay, that covers all humans. As you can see, for the most part, the game did a good job in modernizing them, although some aspects suffered, but overall, I will say that the remake passed the test. Now, let's quickly cover the non-human characters, aka the enemies you shoot at, your compadres. For the most part, all the enemies that appear in the Resident Evil 2 remake are here and they work just as well. I still love Capcom for keeping the fucking spiders out of the games. I have enough nightmares about the remakes ones. The most notorious newcomers to the engine are the series darlings, the Hunters, both in beta and gamma flavors. Wait. Hola verga! I just learned that they are canonically nicknamed Froggers. I am never going to call them anything else ever again. As brand new entries, we got the Parasite Zombies. Yeah, you will see that this game has a thing for tentacles. Not every enemy made it into the new version, and we even lost the Grave Digger, which was, well, a boss. So much for new bosses into this new game, huh? So yeah, bits of mixed things here and there, but overall good. Let's go to the next section. A ver pues, hijo de tu chingada madre. I hope you enjoyed the nice cordial tejón back there, because this is where the gloves come on. So, you might be wondering, Postal, what the fuck is the life selection system? Well... there will be situations in Resident Evil 3 where you will be prompted to make one of two drastic decisions, usually but not always involving Nemesis, which will have an immediate effect on the situation at hand. For example, pushing the emergency brake, or you could just cowabunga your way out of the window. But you know, being an old ass PlayStation 1 game, these decisions could not have like overarching effects through the game, something that could be fixed in, I don't know, a fucking remake that will come out 20 years later. But yeah, in summary, when you heard this song, you knew that shit was going down. And now, let's compare it to the remix version. There's fucking nothing! Nada, zero, you lose, good day, sir! I cannot believe they actually left this out of the fucking remake. The reason you ask? It was to tell a more consistent story. Yeah, that's what they said. They were actually looking out for us when they decided to cut content from the game. Man, bless them! Can you imagine how cool it could have been if they had actually like expanded on the system with today's technology? Runs could have such branches system, like different areas or different allegiances between characters. Some characters could die, others could live depending on your actions. They could have done so much with it, but no. And this is one of these spots where like fucking Apologies fans come and they are like, but Postal, maybe it was too difficult to implement, or maybe they didn't have enough time, or maybe me. No, you say no. This game is not a fucking $20 DLC for Resident Evil 2. This is a full retail game, and Capcom look at us in the eye as they put it out on the store. I actually waited for a sale for this game because of initial reviews, which makes the initial skit a complete lie. It is the developer's responsibility to make the game right, not the fans' responsibility to let things slide. You get the fuck out of here, I'm gonna rip you a new asshole! Okay, I'm cool. Hijo de su p***. Oh, and that compensation they said, what was it? Expanded story and character development? Who got that? Nikolai? And you know what's the worst part of this? Given this game's cinematic tendency, oh don't you worry, I will get to tell later. It means that now the game is far more railroaded than ever before. And I assume that at some point the developers must have been like, dude, it's pretty blatant that we cut a lot of stuff from the game. We have to put something there instead. And the dude who was in charge of making the fucking Clock Tower session was probably playing Resident Evil 4 instead. And since he was running through the boulder when the other employee asked that, he was like, I got it! And that's how we got the best QTA system I have ever seen in any game, ever! So, what do you think you should do here? Alright, let's try it! No, I am not doing any progress this way. Maybe if I press it at the same time it's pulsating? Nope, I got me killed. So what the fuck do you do? Well, you simply hold it.
You got boost power!
Man, this is awkward. Oh, speaking of awkward, here's another QTE, but now at the start of the game. Here you're supposed to start the car and you have to, well, turn the key 3 times, because horror. Man, I am glad I have this gameplay on my hands. Well, here's the thing. The game gives you a lot of time for you to do this because, hey, maybe pressing the same button 3 times is hard. So what happens if you just don't?
Come on. Start, damn it!
I'm going to boil some water. BRB. Oh my god. Se pasaron de verga. Okay. Now we are done with this section. Thank God, honestly. Nemesis, or Chunky Boy. Nemesis is, well, he's Resident Evil 3. Not to disrespect Jill's sandwich, but I assure you, ask anyone who has played the original, and our Chunky Boy will be the centerpiece. So, who or what is Nemesis? As far as I know, there is no who. As for what, Nemesis is a bioweapon made by Umbrella, in their never-ending quest for making bioweapons for profit, because... More specifically, the Tyrant Project, as they keep trying to make more intelligent monsters because that could never backfire. Our Fedora Boy is part of the project as well, but despite his looks, he's as intelligent as a toaster with Wi-Fi connection. The issue with these tyrants is that basically their brains return to monkey, and they were trying to fix this with a certain parasite, except all the hosts kind of keep dying. This was until the STARS members, well, killed their most recent project and explored the laboratory, so... Filled with salt incarnate, Umbrella finally succeeded in making a somewhat intelligent monster. And the first directive they gave this monster? Well, find and fuck all the STARS members. I am kind of glossing over some details, but that's basically Nemesis' backstory. And he has to be the coolest character ever who can only say one word.
Stars.
So yeah, cool backstory bro, but we don't care about that. Why do people love this asshole so much? Well, that's because the character you control in Resident Evil 3 just happens to be a STARS member. Also, games back then did not have the technology nor the obsession with cinematic stuff. So you know what that meant? That monster was on your ass! And he definitely played the part. I have already talked about how much I love Nemesis' introduction in the original game in that other video where I gush about it until they gave me a restraining order. So I won't go really that deep into it. All you need to know is that you played the game normally, but with a little bit of sense of dread instilled upon you by Brad.
He's after STARS members. There's no escape.
And then he appears, and fucking murders Brad. You are presenting with the nerve-wracking life selection system, and you have to, well, make your choice. Maybe you decide to fight him and find out that, yeah, he can also impale your face. Once you retreat into the RPD, you realize he can open doors to keep chasing you. Wait, that's illegal. And from now on, that's the status quo. You could be minding your own business, killing zombies and solving puzzles, and he could be all like... At least until you advance 60-70% of the game, where you are actually forced into a boss fight with him. Ooh, he has hit me a few times. I better heal. What the fuck is that? Eventually, you drop his ass and he takes a nap on the flames. Crispy. You would think that now he's dead after that, and now the title of the game makes no sense. But no, instead he evolved like a fucking Pokemon, and now he has proper tentacles to slap you around instead of just that, well, that. So now you have to deal with him here and there, until you reach the BioWest disposal room at the dead plant. Oh look, acid works, yeah! Ay, a la verga. Are you okay? I did not mean to... are we cool? This image of a headless Nemesis is still chasing you. Well, Nemesis is fucking metal. After that, you finally fucking drop him into pieces and leave. Except... oh, you're still alive. And you are mutating, fucking great. Well, it's not Nemesis per se, it's the parasite. And then he mutates into that, as a last ditch effort to kill you. And for his troubles, he gets a railgun run to the head. And now, let's go to the shop. Ah, pero serás cabrón. Well, he's still alive, and you have one last decision to make.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
La pesto. And that's the end of Nemesis. So yeah, he's a persistent, dangerous bastard who's on your ass the whole game. And he can appear on you in story events or just because he felt like it. Yeah, does this ring a bell with the new Mr. X? And now, let's see how our chunky boy fares in the remake. The game opens with Jill having a bad dream, probably trauma from the first game. Eventually the phone rings. Who could that be?
Hello?
Jill, are you...
Oh hey, it's Brad.
Brad, is that you?
He's dropping the foreshadowing a little bit earlier than expected.
Explain. You gotta get out of there right now!
Alright, let me grab my...
What? Nemesis? We haven't even started the game, and you're already here like the fucking Kool-Aid man? Alright, after Nemesis tosses Jill around like she owes him money, you can control her again so you can get the fuck out of there. Never mind. After Jill escapes and barricades the door, you can go downstairs to find a way to get the fuck out of there.
No way.
Okay. Alright then, Nemesis is pretty stubborn, but now you can get to the ladder and get the fuck out. Mira, hijo de tu puta madre. Are you fucking done now? Are you sure? Okay, just making sure. After Nemesis caves himself in like the moron he is, Jill runs into Rad, After Brad gets bitten by a zombie, Jill makes her way to get to the chopper.
Hey, down here!
I think we can safely skip this part.
Sorry.
Hey! Fuckface!
How the hell did you catch the first one and not that one? After Carlos saves Jill's bacon, you have a little time for yourself exploring Raccoon City downtown. At least until you restore power to the city. Ooh, that's an ominous looking wall right there.
You shitting me?
I'm absolutely shocked. Shocked! Well, not as shocked as he is. Now, with Nemesis on your ass, you have to make it back to the train station to escape. Jill decides to lure the monster away from the group, so she runs into the hallway so she can escape. Oh, buddy. Oh, don't worry, we will explore that in the last section. Jill escapes, we see another shot of her ass, and you're now in the sewers. In the sewers, you will burn some poor froggies and solve a puzzle, I guess? So you can return to the surface. Oh, well, hello there, buddy. I hadn't seen you in the last 5 minutes. And what do you have here? Oh, a flamethrower. Man, look at him go. He's having the time of his life.
That's a clean burning hell, I tell you what.
After that little escape, you're locked into a fight with him, where you have to shoot the tank on his back. It's a pretty fun fight. Now, Nemesis suffers the consequences of bringing a big red barrel on his back and Jill escapes, dealing with a few zombies on the way. Oh hey Nemesis, you're back again. Cool. And now you have a rocket launcher, even cooler.
Rocket launcher? Really?
In this part, you have to dodge Nemesis rockets while you make your way back to the metro station. Sadly, Nemesis catches up and we have to say goodbye to Mikhail's beautiful voice.
Get off my train, shitbird!
This, of course, is not enough to kill Nemesis, but he finds out that he's not a fan of fire as it turns out.
Bitch can't even swim.
Sadly for Jill, it seems Nemesis did hear that and he does not care for it.
Jill, what happened? Jill, come in!
Now you have to fight Bloodborne Nemesis here, using a mix of firepower, dodging, and well, making him fall down like a fucking dumbass.
I'm gonna kill you!
Of course. This ends up as a double KO, and both of them take a little nap while Carlos gets the cure. Eventually, Jill wakes up from her nap, and learns that Carlos went ahead into the Umbrella laboratory that was underneath the hospital. So she teams up with Tyrell to go into the and Tyrell is dead. After that, you don't really see him again, at least until Jill gets the T-Virus cure. We are going to skip this one too. Now, it's time for round 2 versus Bloodborne Nemesis. This fight is pretty much the same, only that he has a longer arm, some zombies join the fight, and Carlos is there being useless.
He's hiding behind tank 1.
Hey, cabron! You have a machine gun over there, do you mind? Despite being useless, Carlos still manages to steal the kill. Nah, he just de-evolved and now Jill is ready to kill him once and for all.
This is the last fucking time.
Sadly for Nemesis, we already know that he has quite a weakness versus ray guns. So, we are treated to one more boss fight and now Nemesis can eat shit and die.
Come on! Next time, take the fucking hit!
And much like the original Nemesis, even if he happened to survive the last fight, which is unlikely, the nuke on Raccoon City most definitely finished the job. Which means Nemesis is dead, and unlike our poor boy Piranha Head here, Nemesis only appears in the series in spin-off games, well, because he has no place in the canon anymore. Putting them in a vacuum, both versions work well. The original Nemesis spends 95% of the game as a humanoid monster, at least until the very last fight, when he mutates into that thing to try to kill you one last time. In my opinion, Tentacle Nemesis is a really cool version, although he's really underused, he doesn't appear a lot in the game, but at the same time, he's in that pivotal fight where you drop him into literal pieces, so it works well. I am not going to sugarcoat this. Like I have said before, the original games are hard to recommend because, well, they are primitive, and in this new version, fighting Nemesis is a joy instead of just struggling with the controls. He has a wide array of moves, and now you can reliably evade and aim at him, which is why they made the Parasite external in this iteration, I assume. Although, compared to Mr. X, Nemesis is faster and has more moves, so running away from him can be a little bit wonky because of the camera, but I am just nitpicking here. While it is basic, the flamethrower fight is fun, entertaining, and the rocket launcher section mixes well with the bait system, although I swear, I unloaded so much ammo on him and he didn't go down his time. I assume you're just meant to run, maybe? While we are on the subject of downing Nemesis, the reward system is a little bit different this time around. It starts off very promising because you get upgrades for your weapons this time around, but eventually you only get ammo. Bummer. Bloodborne Nemesis on the other hand is a bit more basic on his approach. He will mostly just be launching and swiping around, and you can trip it so you can hit its weak spot for maximum damage, like a crab. All of the above applies to the recycled fight, only well, now you hit the generators. While I don't really agree with how randomly Nemesis mutates in the new version, the last boss fight is much better than the originals, where you just run around charging batteries and that's that. Speaking of weird mutations, I have a bone to pick with the new version, but since it's just a nitpick that doesn't amount to anything in the review, I'm gonna leave it here in text. Now, let's go to the next section after we have a little lunch break. Cabrón, te dije que lunch break! Welcome to the speedrun part of the what? Okay, welcome to the speedrun section of this video. Initially, we were going to do like a step-by-step of the game, but as I was voicing the lines, it was like, why even? This is just gonna prolong the video forever. So instead, let's do a really quick speedrun of each game. Now, let's get comfy, tell someone we really prefer for them to be quiet, and let's go! As we all know by now, you start the game at Raccoon City Uptown. Get the key to the warehouse, get the lighter oil, and make your way to the bar. Oh hi bruv, get the lighter, clear some zombies, burn the rope, and make your way to the Raccoon City Police Department. With that we clear what's basically the tutorial level, we enter the RPD, and well, Brad eats shit and dies. Once that happens, you can enter the station and wander around until you make your way to the briefing room, where you can find Jill's card, which then you will use at the computer to get a code for the stars key, and don't forget to grab the blue gem.
Here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take...
Set a date with your psychiatrist, then get the hell out of there. Unlock the door with the lockpick and enter downtown. Get the power cable and make your way to the reservoir. Pick the lock, grab the crowbar and open the hatch. Carlos will appear and after that Nemesis, so you have to make a choice.
I know. You wanna ask me out? All the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy.
You get out of there, grab the crank and make your way to the newspaper building. Go upstairs, grab the green gem and make your way to the city hall. Here you will make your way through zombies until you reach the cable car, where you will find the members of the UBCS. After that little meeting, Carlos will give you an inventory expansion. Grab the wrench and make your way back and oh my god, why am I getting beaten by everyone? Puta! Make your way to the other path in City Hall to make way to the car shop. Use the crank and watch it break down due to nihilism, then use the wrench to force it open anyways. Solve a little puzzle in order to get the machine oil and then run away from what you did. Clear the zombies and remove the book from the statue's hand. Why the fuck is this in the middle of the city? Return to the statue and place the compass so you get a battery? Deal with this box and activate the elevator with the battery. Here you will solve a little puzzle that's honestly so fucking easy, you cannot fail it. With this now you can grab the fuse, but some zombies will try to break in, so you have to decide either to shock them or deal with Nemesis. Use the wrench, grab the hose, then return to where you found the first Cerberus so you can put out the fire. Which means we had to make a little trip back to Uptown. Go down the alley towards the pharmacy and find Nikolai again. Use product placement to solve this puzzle and get the additive.
If they wanted money, or they wanted something more sexual. Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Now that you have everything, return to the train car by at the city. Oh, hi there, Nemesis. How are you doing? Oh, fuck, shit. Break his ankles and then deal with the gravedigger. Get everything ready and let's go to Clock Tower. Just kidding, Nemesis is here being an asshole. Choose how to deal with the train car and get back on your feet. We are in Clock Tower, baby! Anger Pira and make your way to the chapel, where you can find a half of a key. Head to the rooftop and access the ladder by using a key that I forgot to record apparently. Get the gear and deal with this stupid ass puzzle that I have no idea how I solved as a child. Because ¡Hola verga! Get the other half of the Chrono key, get down and oh hey Nemesis, I see you survive and Footsies this, pendejo! Escape this or loser and use the Chronos key on the green door. Here you will have to solve a puzzle in order to get the golden gear. Combine it with the silver one and get the Chronos gear. Use it at the tower and now Jill will be able to relax as she can escape Raccoon City. Psych, Nemesis is here being an asshole again. Carlos will actually be useful by getting rid of his rocket launcher, and now you have to fight him one-on-one.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The fight will technically end on a draw because Jill is now infected, and now you will use Carlos to get her a cure. Make your way back to the Golden Gear room, then push the bell in order to reach the hospital. Deal with the hunter, grab the tape recorder and use it to open the elevator. Find out that Nikolai is, gasp, evil, Then grab the key here. Unlock this room that has a really weird pose for a hospital, then grab the vaccine base. Go to the basement and happily waste ammo. Woo! Grab the medium base and activate the machine. Yo, froggers. Clear this puzzle so you get the requirements for the actual vaccine. Step, Frogger, what are you doing? Get the hell out of there and... Oh, is that a bomb? Oh, Christ on the stick, no! With this, you basically clear Carlos' section. Now you just have to bring the vaccine to Jill. Ah, no. Get juked, bitch. Give Jill the vaccine and now Carlos will fuck off to find a way to escape, I think, but you get out there. Nemesis, vete a comer mierda a otro lado. Unlock this office and grab the key to the park. Make your way to the eastern side and... Yo, Froggers, how are you? Frogger? No! Rana culera! No! Show him who's boss, and then grab a key from the dead umbrella guy. Make your way back now to the western side and solve a puzzle to drain the water. Ignore the leashes and the George Romero zombies and make your way to the shack. Grab the metal rod, burn the wood at the fireplace, then use the rod to discover a passage. Grab the key, then be confronted by Nikolai about his evil intentions. Here you will actually fight a gravedigger. Technically speaking, I think you can shut it down, but instead shoot the lamppost and watch it go bzzzt. Escape this area, dodge the zombies, and make your way back to the eastern side where you can use the key to enter the death factory. Get on the bridge and now Nemesis will dare you to jump down. Live, fam. Grab the water sample and tell the Dramos you don't want their eggs. Make your way through the factory and grab the MO disc. Solve a little puzzle with the steam bulbs in order to reroute power. Head to the water sample room and prove to yourself that you're smarter than when you were a child, because first try, baby! This will open passage to the bio waste room, so get in there and face your fate! Establish your dominance over Nemesis and grab the keycard. Make your way to the control tower and grab the radar receiver. Sadly, Nikolai commandeered the last chopper, so you have to either try to talk him down or, well, come plomo, perro! Continue your escape until you reach the last Thunderdome. And with that, we finally escape Raccoon City. I gloss over some details, like for example the possibility of Nikolai being killed by Nemesis, but this is pretty much the RE3 run. And while we have our engines fired up, let's go over the remake. Wander around the apartment until the phone rings and pick it up. Go forward to trigger the vent. Jump through the window and head downstairs. Go forward to trigger the vent. Go forward to trigger the vent. Go forward to trigger... Okay, I think you get the idea. Find Brad and then follow him. Press F for Brad and then find your new gun. Head to the warehouse, activate the elevator and deal with the zombies. Get in the car and press W 3 times. Hold the button. Follow Carlos until you reach the metro train.
RPD.
Head upstairs to reach downtown and that concludes the first part of this game. Head through downtown and reach the blockade. Deal with the zombies and head to the store. Then head to the metro station so you can grab the hose and put the fire out in the alley. Enter the repair shop, grab the bolt cutters and cut the chain. Here you will find Nikolai, or well, Mr. I am not evil. Enter the power plant, make your way through it until you find the almighty lockpick. Pick the lock and... Hey! I said I didn't want them! Make your way in, deal with the drain demos, and power up the 4 breakers. This will bring power back to the metro station. Oh yeah! Deal with Nemesis as you make your way back to the metro station, where you can solve a puzzle to reroute the train. Now that you have everything in order, return to the team so you can get the hell out of there. Never mind, now you have to escape from Nemesis, so use all the distractions at your disposal so you can escape into the sewers, which basically ends the main downtown area. Here at the sewers, you'll have to find your way back up. Hey, no, don't you fucking need me! Get the battery pack and then use it on the few doors that require it so you can make your way through. Find the ladder so you can make your way back to the streets. Oh, fucking... No! Nemesis seems to have different plans about this, so yeah. You will have to make your way through the building as Nemesis reenacts Meet the Pilot. Question Jill's sanity as she chooses to go upwards into the building instead of finding a way out. Question Nemesis' sanity as he chose to strap a big red exploding barrel on his back. Make your way around until you find the gun shop and take the key from there. Open the door and make your way to the house. Nemesis wants a second round, but this time around, you just need to, well, make your way back to the team. Get into the train so you can get, well, you know the drill here. And with that, we take control of Carlos, who has to go to the RPD to fetch a dude or something. Question Capcom's decisions and drop the Brat Zombie. Fight your way through the station until you can reach the 3rd floor where you will find the key. Use the key and punch in the code so you can get the battery from one of the lockers. Go to the showers and plant the bomb. Now you just need to shoot your way through zombies and a leaker so you can reach the star's office. Whoops, the guy was not there. Well, now you go back to Jill, who is, well, having a bit of a rough time. Make your way out of the tunnels and you will reach... Clock Tower. Press forward to escape from Bloodborne Nemesis and get ready for round 2. Drop his ass down again and enter the building. Psych! You did not win, it was a draw! Ha! Well, Jill is now infected, so you take control of Carlos again, who has to get her cure. Make your way to reception where you can grab the tape recorder. Find your way until you find the 2nd floor, so you can jump out of the window and grab the key. Head towards the employee's office, open the door, and grab the ID. Well, hello there, Mr. Hunter, what can I help you with today? Use the keycard to open the linen room and deal with the 2 hunters so you can grab the cassette tape. Return to reception where you can use the recorder in order to open the door, and you will find that your guy, well, he's gone, Jim. Discover Umbrella's secret punching code so you may enter and get the vaccine. Go back to give Jill the vaccine, and now, I hope you're comfortable with horde modes, because you are now in one. Eventually you will be prompted to arm the bomb, which will end Carlos' section, and now you go back to controlling Jill. Wake up, Sunshine, meet Arel, and then make your way to the hospital until you find the locked door. Make your way through the underground facility. When you try to use the elevator, well, the fuses will go out, so you have to go on a little scavenge hunt. Place the fuses in the box, easy peasy. Now you just need to read the report. Hey Terrell. Bye Terrell. Now you have completed the underground facility, so you may now enter Nest Laboratory. This area is pretty straightforward. Your main mission here is to get the virus. Apparently my dumbass somehow lost a recording of this area. Thankfully, there is not a lot to this area. You get the USB key, you deal with some paleheads and some hunters, then you get the other 2 items you need to get the cure and, well, that's it. Perdón, la cagué. After all that, you bring items to this machine where you can synthesize the cure. Oh hey Nemesis, how are you doing? Go forward to trigger. Find the waste disposal room where you will... Alright Cap, you want pelea? I will give you pelea. Te la pelas. Find the protagonist, argue with him for a little, and now you have to fight Nemesis again to the death. For the last time, I think. Get off the building, try to shoot Carlos but kill Nikolai instead, and well, get the hell out of there. And with that, we finish Resident Evil 3 Remake's speedrun. This time around there are no deviations whatsoever, so this is their run. And Now that we have all that squared away with everything else, let's go back to the last section. How the hell does everything stack up? Right. With everything about both games now being played side to side, both of them seem, well, pretty solid. So why doesn't the remake stack in my opinion? Well, it's just too short. It was a joke! It was a joke! Don't do it! Ah! Okay. So, in a more serious note, Resident Evil has the interesting situation where it has 4 kind of remakes in the franchise. Let's go over them in chronological order. First, we have what I call a pure remake. In this instance, Remake. This game basically grabs everything about the original and makes it better. Not only that, but it also brings its own ideas in order to enhance the game, much like the Crimson Heads or Lisa. If you want to play Resident Evil 1, there is no better way to go than this, unless you want the nostalgia and the quirky voice lines.
Hope this is not Chris's blood.
So yeah, I consider this game the golden standard for what a pure remake should be. Then we have the spin-off remake. This game, well, it's only a remake in name. Well, not even name. This one revisits events of previous games, well, but the gameplay has nothing to do with the originals, but it was all we had. It was pretty fun. And then what I call an evolution remake. This time the gap of time and technology is way too large to make a one-to-one remake. So instead they adapted what's meta about the genre today and well, made a new game with it. This game is excellent, but unlike Remake, this is not a clean remake per se. It deviates a lot from the original, so if you were to play the original right now, you will get a vastly different experience from the remake. And lastly we have, well, for a lack of a better name, a botched remake. Initially I was just going to call it a cash grab remake, but it is not enough of a train wreck to warrant the name. Basically it's a game that, sure, it's modern, but at the same time it gives up a lot of what made the original good in the first place. Which put us in a weird scale situation where, well, yeah, some parts of these games are better, but others are not. And that's the thing entirely. This is a remake that should be better in all aspects, not meant to be a back and forth to give and take. So with this kind of remake it's like, sure, you can play it, it's not a bad game, but you can also play the original, which I think makes a lot of things better. So, hypothetical person number 3 might be like, Postal, what the fuck are you rambling about now? And to that, I want to ramble a little more, because I am allergic to getting to the fucking point. For this, we have to consider expectations. In this context, circling back to RE2 Remake, they gave us this outstanding game which, sure, it lost some things here and there in the translation, but it added so much stuff that was, well, loved by fans and newcomers alike. Probably chief among them is the upgraded version of Mr. X, an actual roaming monster who, according to data miners and such, doesn't just instant transmission on your ass every now and then, like he's actually looking for you in the map. So it's kinda obvious that anyone who played Resident Evil 3 before and then played this game will be like, yo, they Nemesis Mr. X. And there's no fucking way that they did all this work and they are not going to use it for Nemesis himself. So yeah, eventually they announced a remake of Resident Evil 3. With such splendid work in the Resident Evil 2 remake, obviously expectations were high. But here's the thing, to use such a roaming monster like Mr. X, but here, the streets of the original felt a little claustrophobic. They most likely will need to expand on the city itself, and we had already seen what kind of streets they had made in Resident Evil 2 remake, so yeah, there is the precedent. And well, letting imagination fly stupidly, I ended up thinking like a mix between Resident Evil maps and something like Yakuza's, a semi-open world of streets and buildings where you could enter and stuff like that, in order to grab supplies or distract Nemesis and stuff like that. Now, I have never played it, but imagine it could be like The Division if it works like that? I don't know. Obviously, this idea is extremely half-baked, so it was up to them to polish the idea to make it, well, work like a Resident Evil game. So, whether or not they went for this idea or they decided to make like something more Resident Evil-like, it was clear they needed to polish this properly in order to fit a roaming monster like Nemesis. So, how did they polish it? No hicieron ni mierda. At a simple glance, you could say that both game speedruns are comparable, But honestly, I had so little to talk about the Remix run, and I even had to go easy on the press forward jokes. The key items you get are so scant, and honestly, this game, it just feels like it's in a rush to be over by the very moment you start. It doesn't help that at some point, Gil's adventure basically becomes like a boss rush with Nemesis. And since they brought themselves into a corner, or maybe they just wanted Carlos to have a bigger part in this game, that's why they gave him the RPD section to him. It does not sound like a bad thing on the surface, but here's the issue. In the original, Carlos' section was a throwaway section, if you will. You had a commando with a machine gun and a lot of ammo to spare. Basically like a mini vacation from the normal, well, resource management style. But now that Carlos has more longevity in this game, you have to actually take care of his ammunitions, which granted is generous. Also, why the fuck did they go to the RPD for this scientist guy, who clearly was at the hospital the whole time? I can only assume that Nikolai led them there, but there is no mention of this on the game as far as I know. Okay, I am digressing. Like I mentioned before, this game had to give up a lot of stuff, like content, areas, enemies, a boss, the life selection system, any kind of choice whatsoever, characters' involvement such as Barry, and all of this was for the mention of a more coherent or better story, but the thing is, it's all inconsequential. Ooh, big word. The story is basically the same, and anything that was added ultimately it amounted to nothing. Like, remember the whole ordeal to get the type virus Q at the laboratory? Well, it resulted in jack shit, so not even the narrative was expanded here. This seems like a good spot as any to make a transition to the game's cinematic obsession, and why it affects the game in a negative manner, and most importantly, Nemesis. Maybe nobody noticed it, but I left a low-key hint to this back in the Nemesis section. For the most part, whenever I spoke about the original, I tended to phrase it like Nemesis is chasing and being an asshole to you, while in the remake, I tended to say that Nemesis is chasing Jill, which sounds like semantics, but it's so much more than that. For the majority of the game, whenever Nemesis is doing stuff, he's either in a cinematic, an interactive cutscene, which I guess is like the evolution of QTEs now that technology allows for it, or as a set piece, which causes two big problems. The first one is, I am not sure if Capcom has no idea why the original Nemesis and the remakes Mr. X are so well remembered. Maybe it's because they look so pretty in cutscenes? Nope. Here's a quick version of why that might be. It's because they are being assholes to you. You could be doing whatever, and then they will appear on you and make your life hell, and you as the player have to adapt to this, be it by fighting or fleeing. You as the player need to deal with this situation or you're gonna die. Now here there is no tension, like, at all. You have no agency over what happens in this scenario. You simply go through the motion of what's scripted and what's going to happen, and that's that. Especially considering how straightforward the maps are, you cannot even choose an escape route or something. And sure, set pieces are cool, cutscenes are cool, like, Nemesis here looks cool as fuck, but that's the thing, he looks cool as fuck. You want to make a movie, then contact Netflix, I am sure they will take you on that. Games offer so much more because of the gameplay aspect to just waste it away in just fucking cutscenes. The worst part here is that I don't even have to go far to get a good example for what a set piece will be for a boss. Here, you are dealing with Birkin, who decided to make your life hell again because he's an asshole. This is a set piece, like, it's a scripted event, but a completely playable one, not just press forward. You have to actually run around and evade the claws or they're gonna get you. You are in full control, you are the one being chased, you are the one in danger. After that, there's no cutscene, he enters the room and you have to evade him and keep running. Eventually you will reach the arena segment of the boss fight, where you have to drop his ass with a cargo container, and all of this is in gameplay, not fucking press forward to not die. Now, for problem number 2. If you sat through this whole video and you thought to yourself, man, the Nemesis and the speedrun sections of the remake, he kinda reused a lot of clips. You're not wrong, that's because Nemesis is so much into the game that I had to, well, basically reuse a lot of stuff. And with this game's cinematic obsession, well, our boy is just so fucking incompetent. He spends so much time of his time after Jill, and he gets so many chances to kill her, but he doesn't take any of them. And you will say, duh, Postal, of course he cannot kill her, she's the main character and this is a cutscene. Well, yeah, which is kind of my point. He sucks so much at his job because of the cinematic nature of this game that he ends up feeling more like an annoyance rather than a fucking threat. This is only made worse because around half of the game he evolves into this impossibly strong and agile monster, so now every chase will just be a cinematic and a straight run because, well, he's just so much faster than the player can control Jill, so there's no other way, and after that, well, every interaction with Nemesis will just be a cutscene or a boss fight. I had mentioned before that I did not completely agree with how Brad is steered into this game, and that's because, well, Nemesis is so incompetent in this version. He didn't even get a fucking pity kill in order to pass his KDA, so now Umbrella is flaming him for inting. Around here probably is where people might challenge this notion and mention the part where Nemesis chases you as a player, and well, about that, yesn't. After you lose him at your apartment, he will be chillaxing, but once you activate the power of the plant, Nemesis is scripted to burst through this wall and give you chase. So you must escape and you will find him again at the donut shop where you must run to the metro station and then lose him as you go into the sewers. After that it's just Pyro Nemesis, then Rocket Nemesis, which both are kind of set pieces, so you run back to the metro station. And after this, Nemesis is basically over because he will turn into the Blood Moon monster. So if you are defending Nemesis chasing system because of this part, well, you need to value yourself more as a customer. I get that spending $60 for this game is stunk, but you don't have to rationalize it. This is not even a roaming monster like Mr. X. He's scripted to appear and chase you from point A to point B and that's it. This is just a Goomba! Congratulations, your princess is in another castle! I honestly feel bad for whoever designed the Nemesis moveset. I think I saw him roar and jump into a wall once. And this is especially bad because this was the demo, which got people excited about how Nemesis could be in this expanded Raccoon City, but this area is the most expansive that the game has, and this is the most that the Nemesis will chase you, so like, the rest of the game is just a downgrade from this. And to further my point about this just being a point A to B chase, like, just look at this dude as soon as I deviate from the path. well, hello there, good sir. In summary, regarding Nemesis, despite it just being a chase from point A to B, Nemesis gave me more tension in this single part of the game than he did in the rest of it, because he was actually chasing me, the player, without the safety net of it being a scripted event or a cutscene. And lastly, there is a little detail that basically amounts to nothing, but at the same time I feel it simplifies a lot of what I feel with this game. Anyone who has played both the original and the remake most likely knows where I'm going with this. In the original, after all that has happened, and Jill finally gets her chance at payback, she drops this line.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
It's a corny line, it's silly, it shows Jill's personality and just how done she's with Nemesis, and it's most likely her most iconic line. And in the remake, we have this one.
Come on! Next time, take the fucking hit!
It's not a bad line, but why this change? Now it's a far more generic line, like, it has no stars context at all now. And now that line, well, it was placed here.
Come on, you creepy ass stalker! Ah!
Okay, that was not fair. She can actually say the whole line.
Come on, you creepy ass stalker! You want stars? I'll give you stars!
But why? If you're making a game that's banking on people's nostalgia, why would you change something so iconic? Honestly, this just feels like Capcom gave a team like a checklist of things to follow for Resident Evil 3 and why they considered it was good, but nobody really understood why it was good in the first place. And now I believe we have finally reached the point of this fucking rambling. This game just feels like a hollow cash grab, designed to just fill the gap between one game and the other, which is honestly pretty ironic considering that this is how the original Resident Evil 3 came to be. So the conclusion is that this game fails on so many levels, as a sequel to Resident Evil 2 because it feels really watered down, as a remake because it's just so full of compromises compared to the original game. It has cut content, watered down mechanics, they even removed the mercenaries, and the new Nemesis is just... And to top it all off, it also fails as its own game because remember, this is a full retail game. And it offers so little content. Don't get me wrong, I love to rant, but it gives me no pleasure to talk about Resident Evil 3 like this. I wanted the remake to be so good so that Resident Evil 3 finally has the chance to shine alongside Resident Evil 2. But now that Resident Evil 2 basically rip out 3's heart with, you know, a new gen roaming monster, now they have to span on both Nemesis and Raccoon City to make them stand out, to not feel like a rip-off of Resident Evil 2, but instead they just did the bare minimum, and it shows. I wanted this game to be so good that I did not need to recommend the PlayStation original to anyone ever again, but now more than ever, I actually want to do that. ¡Me voy a comer tus ojos! Okay. This video has gone way too long now. For context, the aim is to make like 10, maybe 20-minute videos about stuff. You can tell that by the last half I was actually running out of ideas for memes and jokes and shit like that. I am not really a comedian, so that makes it even worse. But now I am free. We are out of this video now, yeah! Now, what should my next video be about? Games from nostalgia, games that made me rant, games that people actually care about nowadays, League of Legends. I don't know, we will see. But thank you for watching. This is the Postal Badger shipping out.